Welcome back to Lindsay Mopo Outlaw Kustoms. So, in this video, we're gonna finish putting the rest of this drivetrain together. Basically got it all done in the last video. We just had to check, make sure the drive shaft length was good and that sort of stuff. We messaged the guy that built the drive shaft, like I said in the end of the last video. He did the bikes for the world's fastest Indian for the salt flat running. With the shells on, Ducatis, if you didn't know. So yeah, and they sounded very much like the original bike with the megaphone exhausts and everything. They reckon they actually sounded pretty close. So, but anyway, so yeah, we were concerned about the length of the, basically the bottoming out length. It's about 20 mils or slightly over 3/4 of an inch. He said it's fine, so we're going to go with that. We're worried about with weight and everything in the back, but we did climb in there. If you didn't see the end of the last video, a couple of us jumped in here last night and jumped up and down, and my dad was here, so it was me and the owner in the back jumping up and down, and my father stood there and watched the drive shaft. He said it hardly even moved, so we think we should be okay. But by the time you get tank of fuel and maybe some tools and bits and pieces, get the car weighed down, obviously you've got all the upholstery to go on it and all that sort of stuff, that might be compress it a little bit, but apparently you should be okay. So I've got to put the handbrake mechanism and crap on, finish putting the bolts in, get them all pulled up nice and hard and tight, and then after I've done all that, I will go through and we will put the wheels on the back and set the brakes up a bit better, get them sorted, hopefully. Make sure they work and stop. Obviously try and get the clearances good. There might be a bit of fluffing around with that. And then at some point I will probably get a bit of cardboard and whatever, and I'll probably just get underneath there with a rattle can and that adapter and stuff like that. Obviously I'll protect the back of the body and whatever, and I'll just mist in a bit of black and obviously touch up a few scratches and whatever else, and in the back there just missed a bit of paint around it. I sort of wanted to do it when it was all in together, so there wasn't any paint on those mating surfaces. So it was just as easy to mist a bit of blacking around there. I actually wouldn't mind a can of gloss, rattle can, just so it matched them better, but you're not going to be fucking underneath it. It's how it looks. It's probably not going to matter too much. By the time it's driven down the road a few times, it gets a bit of dirt and shit over it. Nobody will know. So, yeah, at some point I'll do that today. It's a bit fucking cold actually, it's a bit overcast, so. Anyway, we'll get putting this together, finalising this, and then, yeah, then I will probably, if I get this done, I'll start carrying on with these things since I've got materials here now. Righty, so we'll get on with it. Right, let's see if we can get this together. Good there, hopefully. Oh, we'll do the under end. Righty. Now I did. Right. Let's find a wheel. Here. Right, so we've done one side, we'll do this side now. And then once I've quickly check, see where that freaking hole is. And over and far in. Here. Well, apparently we got a bit of a problem. I'm just not quite sure what's going on here, and hopefully I can solve it. But if you have a look in here, see that part of the brake shoe here, the adjuster. Hopefully I can pull the shoes in, like when we get it all adjusted, and it comes in a bit. But the bolts that hold the wheel on hit, because there's hardly any clearance here. Now on the other side, like, it's not a major problem. I could nick a little bit off the here to clearance it, and I can take a shave off the edge of the bolts if I have to. But on this side, and I just don't know why, whether it's when they built the wheels and how the wheel's a bit tighter, but I'm down here, let's spin this around, and we can almost get a thing, well, you know what I mean, like there's quite a bit more gap over here. I was like more than double, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, another little interesting problem to find, I guess. So now I've got to freaking try and sort that out. Hopefully I can just do it by adjustment with the shoes. I was hoping about to just sit it down, and just, you know, put it back down on its wheels and worry about adjusting it shit up at some other point, you know what I mean, or whatever, because I'd like to get on to making the side curtains. But I suppose while I'm here, I might as well put the axle stands back underneath it and try and adjust these shoes and see if I can get that wheel clear, which is a bit of a pain. Yeah, so I was being going to be nice to sit back on those wheels. Now if you look, if you hadn't noticed already, apart from we haven't got new tyres on here, but these tyres here are bigger than those ones. They're meant to be both that size. So if you wonder why it looks like it's got funny small wheels on the front, it's just tyres, I should say. That's the reason why we haven't got new tyres yet. I'm still waiting on them to turn up. There's a bit of a shortage for that. Well, there's a complete shortage in the country for that side for vintage stuff. We can get those, which are what would be like on a Model A, but these are the next size up, whatever they are. So yeah, it's just a matter of just what we've got here and just fit it on here in the meantime. And also we've got the new silver bands coming as well, a brand new one. So hopefully when I put them on, they won't be as much of an issue when we get them all together. But yeah, that's a bit of a hassle to be really tight like that. Don't know why. Can't remember it being like that originally. It could have been spokes, maybe just the way it's put together, and it's just a little further in. I don't know. So well, I guess we're diving underneath here and see if we can adjust things. So I'm going to have to get a few spanners and whatever else and get underneath there. Spanners, wrenches, crescents, whatever is your fancy, and start adjusting and see if we can get it on the band nice and close, but not too close, and get it to clear. And the worst comes to worst, we're taking some material off somewhere. Righty, so let it go for lunch. I've been playing with this for a while. I haven't really filmed anything. I'll film some more on the other side when I muck around with that. I have to do a bit more adjusting, try and get the shoes where I'm sort of happy, where they line up okay. Not too bad, but they're a little bit tight in some places. But I'm probably going to have to pull this wheel back off and take all the edges of these bolts off. And I'm going to probably have to just try and shave the corner of that piece off, just to give it a bit of clearance between the two. I think once if I cut the corner off these, well, not cut the corner, but grind the corner off these, and then I'll just dab some more black paint on them, or the brush, and I'll do the same with this, just grind the corner off it, like not far, but just enough so between the two there, and they got clearance and they don't frickin' hurt. I think we'll be right, but yeah, I'm going to have to pull the wheel off to do it. Which is a pain, but shit happens. But yeah, apart from that, we're getting there with the adjustment. I'm just trying to really work it out. I did play with it earlier on, but it's to get the mix of adjustment on the bottom nuts, obviously to pull this part right, and then adjustment on here to pull this right, and then on this and this to get just everything to sit up and down and left and right and freaking wherever, just so it's not, so you know, you've got a bit of clearance like that, but all round, but not too tight, if you know what I mean. And then obviously we'll have to jump on the brakes a couple of times and just, especially once we get it running, and probably just take it for a wee drive and just get a feel for what the brakes should feel like. And obviously you might have to adjust them a couple of times, especially now if we do a wee bit of probably just even up and down the driveway, just take up and down the driveway a few times and just work the brakes a few times, you know, sort of half bed them in, I guess, knock all the high spots off and probably in the bands, and then just see and adjust, and you know, probably have to do a few miles, quite a few miles, and to really adjust them properly. But if we drive it up and down the driveway, once we actually get running a few times, and then, you know, put the foot on the brake a few times, make them work, and obviously go back around and check and whatever, and but at least you can actually see through there if they are too tight. But yeah, a bit of a prick of a thing to frickin' adjust, because there's not much room in there to get a spanner off. I actually had to end up using a Whitworth spanner on the main adjuster on that spring part, because the Imperial spanner, it's bigger than 7/8, but smaller than 15/16. It's right in between. 15/16 fits, but it's quite loose. It probably been fine, but my whatever it is, Whitworth, maybe my half Whitworth, perfect. I even tried a yeah, there's a 7/8 that was too small. I even tried like a 22mm. In millimeters, there's actually 23. I put a 23mm socket over the one on the handbrake, and that's absolutely totally perfect. It's like spot on almost, if you know what I mean. Whereas all the others are either quite loose or quite tight. It's queer. It's almost like there's a socket in between, but it's not an irregular socket set, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so yeah, we'll work on that, and then I'm going to have to obviously pull the wheel off after lunch. Grind all those frickin' edges of those bolts back. Take a nick off that other piece. Not much, just shave the edge off it a little bit. Just round it off a little back, I don't know. Probably even less than 1/8 of an inch. Just take the edge off it, just round it a little bit on that brake itself. And then you just shave the edge off those bolts just to make sure it clears. I think if you ever put that wheel, the other wheel on this side, you know, if you happen to have them both off and put them on the wrong side, I think it would be fine. But yeah, I'd probably guarantee if you put that wheel on that side, it would do the same fucking thing. So, but we'll find out, I guess. Anyway, catch you later on. Oh, let's take it off again. Anyway, I've got this crank up to 4K so if I can zoom in the can and see on here where it's hitting. So I need to obviously shave off a bit on these. It's not a big deal, but I will just grind a bit off them. Probably use one of those roll-locks in the 40s, and just take the edge off this. But then also, I'll show you what I'll do here. And we'll just snip the edge off this, just round it off. Sorry, just round this off, just so it's got a little bit more clearance. I'm not going to take buckle off it, but I think if we just take the edge off it, that's not so square, that'll just help give a little bit of extra clearance in there. But we'll do the wheel first, and then you can see the marks here where it's hitting. That's probably need putting the wheel on for. So yeah, that's where it's hitting on all of them, I think. I think they're all touching, yeah. So we need to get rid of that, as much of that material as we can. But if we take material off here as well as off there, we will alleviate the problem without having to take everything off. But if I just, you can see what you're touching, so yeah, obviously just what it's happening, so we need to fix it. And I'm just guessing that maybe these spokes are just sitting a little bit flatter than the originals. Maybe it was slightly higher out, if you know what I mean. Who would know? Like, you could always unbolt the centre and put a little spacer in there, but yeah, I don't want to disturb the wheel. I didn't make it. Righty, so now I've got the wheel back on. We just nip, well, I wouldn't say nip the nut up, I've done the nut up. I have to pin through it, but it's done up. We'll take it back out of gear. I did, when I put it back on there, and just wrap it, sort of loosely pushed it in and sort of halfway just wound the nut on my hand. I did spin it and it cleared, so let's have a look now. That's tight. Still. She nearly clears. That was alright. It cleared, but only just. I'm glad I took a bit of material for the bright too. It is clearing, but it's freaking only by a whisker. So, I guess it's probably just a matter of trying it if it rubs under use. But you probably can't get it and it'll work further. The shoe, if I can get it to adjust, it can come in a little bit to close up the gap. Look, there is still a bit of a gap in here. I haven't actually checked braking. It was awkward. adjustment yet. But yeah. I'll play around with these shoes a bit more, see if I can get them up a bit closer. And see whether I can get it so really only want that pedal to, I don't know, drop probably half of just what it is at the moment. I don't know if I can show you or not. I should probably go off look on this side. See in there? So this one at the moment is going that pedal lane basically all the way down. It's basically to the floor. We don't need that. So I'm also going to do quite a bit of adjustment here. And obviously that needs to maybe not. Still have to put into there too yet, but obviously we need to take some adjustment out of those shoes to make that pull up to get her pretty slack. It'd be interesting to see them actually grab. It's a bit awkward to do by yourself. Let's stay down. We will do some more and come back when we're a bit closer, I think. I think it's just going to be a lot of me flailing around underneath the car for freaking an hour or so, trying to get this thing working. See if I'm missing something here. Who knows? Right, morning guys. So, today I'm going to jack this back up. One more go at these brakes. So I'm going to get them just a little bit tighter. And hopefully we don't have any, when we go for a drive, they don't heat up and grab. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a look at the pedal situation. I'm not sure if I mentioned it yesterday or not, but when you push the pedal, it's actually now hitting the part of the cowl, the inside of the cowl. I don't know, when I pushed it for a start, if I don't think it ever hit there, maybe just now that it's got more pressure on it, like obviously activating the brakes, maybe it's flexing. So I'm going to look at the pedal where it bolts on and just see if maybe I can tweak that a little bit. And worst comes to worst, I'll put a block of wood in here. It's pretty heavy. Worst comes to worst. I'll put a block of wood in here or something like that, and we'll just give this a wee whack and just put a small dig in it, and then I'll brush paint a little bit of paint back in there because it's scratching it. But yeah, I just want to tweak this and just see if it doesn't drag or grab or whatever. That's like rubbing here. I'm assuming that's where it's rubbing. I can't really see. Yeah, it's rubbing on this piece for some reason. I just don't know why. Now it's rubbing on there. So whether I can loosen the stuff off and just tweak it over there, frickin' 1/4 of an inch, and it clears, and you just tighten everything back up again. Don't really know. bit of a mystery, but yeah, just kind of is what it is, I guess. So yeah, just have to deal with that a little bit. Maybe clearance, just give that a whack. Yeah, and just try and tighten those brakes up. I'd like for the pedal not to be all the way to the floor when it's really pulling those brakes on. We may have to shorten a rod somewhere. I just don't know where, if you know what I mean. But that's the biggest problem. All of the linkages that I've got on here, I don't know where they come from originally, if you know what I mean. So I don't know whether they were off this car or not. It's just we've got bits and pieces that look like they should be doing the job, and they are, but I just feel like there's too much travel in there. I feel like it should be, if you can push your foot half the distance and then it's really hard to push, and you've still got, 3 or 4 inches or whatever to the floor. I'll just take it off here. I still feel like, even if you had a couple inches before the floor, or a couple of 3 inches, say, that half that travel, and then pedal was really hard to push, but we were all the way on the floor. I just don't think it's ideal. You don't want to be mashing it all the way to the floor, just to stop the thing. Half that travel, well, 2/3 should be more than enough, if that, half would be nice, or even a bit less, to be able to just really step back, or if you really needed to try and stop in a hurry, not that you're really going to do that in this thing, because it's got no front brakes, then you might have to push on it a bit harder and push it a bit further, but basically the back brakes are going to lock up, so really you almost want a heap of weight in the back all the time, just so they've got more pressure on. But yeah, I'm going to try and get a wee bit more adjustment out of those bands, just to try and get them a little bit closer to the drum. But you've got to be really careful that we don't get them too close, and then they're dragging and hit the drum up. Otherwise we'll have to back them off. So we may have to try and shorten, take, a quarter of an inch or a bit less out of that rod. But I don't really want to cut it and weld it, because then, it's been made like that. So you don't really want to be shortening it, because otherwise it's a weak point, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. It is pulling. It's not a compressing thing or anything like that, but it's not ideal the way it is. But anyway, we'll have another look at it, see if we can get it some play out of it, or some slack out of it somewhere, and just try and get that pedal to be half that travel, or half the distance or less, when you jump on the brake. And it works. I don't want to be pushing it all the way forward. It's not ideal at all. And then we'll deal with the catching piece afterwards. I'd rather get the pedal working at a safe distance than worry about that dragging. Like, that's a easy fix. Although it's not quite so simple, if you know what I mean. We don't know what we're going to have to do, so I need to sort that out. I think I was thinking of I just thought it was to play, but I'll show you how I tension the spring and the rod underneath. I use a ratchet strap to try and put a bit more tension on it, to try and get that pedal to pull back a bit easier. So I'll do that too, but we'll have to have a look at the slack and whatever. We may have to pull that all off and muck around it to get that pedal loose. Righty, hope you can see there, right? I'm not sure. So, I think I've got the clearance pretty good on these things. It might be a little tight still on the top. But basically what I'm doing is obviously just pulling this rod till I can, hear the pedal actuate, and obviously see the bands pull up. And obviously I just keep adjusting this down to pull the bands slightly tighter. And when it gets tight on the top, but it's still loose on the bottom, then I'll pull this band forward, and I'll just bring this nut down a little bit, just so it's got a little bit more slack to come up the top. So we've still got, so it's not tight when it's just sitting there, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I've just been keep doing that until I get it right, and then obviously I'll have to go back around and just double check the back, top and the back adjuster, just make sure there's still clearance there and whatever. But it's kind of what I've been doing just to try and get that pedal to come right. I'll pull the spring up a bit further, try and get a bit more slam back on the pedal. I'll make sure it's got a bit more resistance. As you can see, this rod is not very straight, but there's not much I can do about it. I think this is meant to be actually on here to help pull it straight. I think there's actually meant to be another spring on here. I think when I was looking through the videos and bits and pieces from the 26, it's up country a little bit. I think this has got a light spring on it that comes back to up here somewhere, I think. I'll have to do some investigation on that. I can't get that pedal to move over anymore, so we're going to have to massage that bit of post there where it's hitting. I try to loosen it off and bring it across a little bit, but there's basically no play in it. And obviously the hole in the floor stops it from coming over too. Like, I can't really get anything out of it, anything worth playing with, if you know what I mean. I'll try and get a better place for it. So yeah, the hole in the floor where the pedal comes through sort of stops it from coming over as well, so there's not much I can do about it. I just have to massage. Sorry, the crappy camera. Bit awkward. But yeah, I'll keep adjusting here for a wee bit longer, just see if I can get these both sides up fairly tight, but still have. I just want to be able to move them freely like that, but not too loose, but not too tight. Obviously, they have to be fairly snug, but you still want to be able to see maybe just a scratch daylight through the gap here. It's a wee bit different to adjusting frickin' internal brakes, I tell you that. Internal brakes, you're pretty good as, you just do them up till they grab and back them off until they sort of slip and got a little bit of, you can sort of just hear them dragging, but almost, you know what I mean? And you're normally pretty good, especially late, something that's a bit late in model and got self-adjusters on it. They're pretty easy to set up, and all disc brakes are even easier, but you know what I mean? Just bleed them away you go. But this is a bit of a different thing. Similar principle, but just complete reverse. So you got to be careful these aren't too tight, otherwise the drum will heat up and expand, and next thing it locks everything on. So yeah, you got to find that happy medium where there's enough clearance, but your pedal isn't on the floor. So yeah, we'll just keep playing and see if we can get it. I did have the right sort of spinner here, and then I've moved it somewhere, so I don't know. So basically I just keep tightening this just up a couple of half turns. It drops back in the notch again, if you know what I mean. And then I'll check it up here to see. It feels like it's dragging, so I just pull the cable and just drop this down a little bit. Yeah, a couple of half turns, and then because obviously as I pull this closer, as I wind the bottom nut down, if you can see, as I wind it, oh, you can, as I wind that bottom nut down, it lifts the bottom shoe up, obviously, and lets this one come up a little bit, so it's got a little bit of clearance. So it's a bit of a juggle until you get it right, and then obviously we'll have to try and get in here and jam the two nuts together, because it is like two nuts, so you can jam them together, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we're kind of getting close, I think. It's just a matter of trying it, and then obviously going for, you know, if it was running and driving, you'd take it for a run, do a few miles, make sure the brakes aren't getting hot, maybe back them off half a frickin' whatever. Yeah, it's just a matter of just playing with it, I guess. I'm actually fairly happy with that side now. I can almost can't see through. It's still loose. You know, we tried to shape the bands as good as we could before we put them on here. So, yeah, I'll do the other side now a bit more and see what this pedal feels like. Righty, I've just tried to tweak, so now I have to fucking do some touch up here. This is what you're seeing, I just brushed a bit of paint in. Pulled this forward with the ratchet strap because you can't do everything by myself, if you know what I mean. So I pulled this forward with the ratchet strap to the front of the chassis to get the pedal down, and then I put a bar in here. I tried to hit this in with a hammer. It's pretty solid. It's I don't know what sort of gauge it is, but it's fairly hefty. Like it's, I don't know, it might be a 16th or something like that. It's not just not normal panel steel. It's but like it's at least double that thickness, if not stronger. So I put a bar in here in between the pedal when it's at that point where it's rubbing, and I sort of gave everything a bit of a flex, try and make things move. So I'm just going to push on the pedal now. The pedal's actually pretty good too. I've got about, I don't know, I'm probably pushing just slightly over 2/3 of the pedal to the floor. At least it comes up nice and hard now. So I think I've got the bands adjusted about as good as I'm going to get them without doing some miles. And it doesn't feel like it's hitting on anything now, which is good. Yeah. So you're probably about 2/3, I guess. I can push on the floor to the floor. I can't push any further than that. I'll bring in here, I'll show you. I just want to see what's happening here now that I'm forcing that down. That's why I've got it in nice and close. So have a quick look at that. Right, just going to have one more look. I'll just reposition the camera, so just looking a bit more in here, because I just want to see what the clearance is, to be honest. I'll just quickly do that and have another look. The camera's in a better position now. We'll quickly check that, and then I'll show you the travel on the floor for the pedal. Yeah, right, that doesn't look too bad. I'm reasonably happy with that, if you know what I mean. It's tight, but it's, you know, it's like most things in a car. There's only a whisker of clearance here and there, so hopefully it's good enough it doesn't become a problem. A bit of testing we'll find out, I guess. So just, right. We'll get you set up there, and we'll just show this pedal. Just zoom that in just a touch if I can I? Why can't I zoom? I wonder why I couldn't zoom. I was on 4K, you idiot. Doesn't want to zoom when you're on 4K. But now, it's not like I'd like to be a little bit higher, but at least we've got a good hard pedal. So about here now, like I'm guessing, you know, by the time you get into this range, it's stopping. whereas before it was hard on the floor. Like, you know, we're still we're a couple of 3 inches away from, well, I guess 3 inches forward from the floor now, so we're in a reasonable length of travel now. I would assume if I put the seat back in there and everything like that, it wouldn't feel too bad. I might do that. It's fucking so awkward getting in and out of this thing though. I'm definitely not the right person. I think once you're in there, it's all right, but fuck, it's just getting in and out of the fucking thing. I'm a bit big. I need to get on the bike a bit. Get the midsection down a little. Anyway. So yeah, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere now. So at least the brakes should be working and pedals not fouling. And we've got decent-ish travel. It'd be nice if it was pulling up a little bit quicker than that, but on the pedal, but at least, you know, we can do a wee bit of driving. We might be able to, even if it's just driving up and down the driveway a few times, and sort of bed those shoes in a bit. I guess, you know, maybe we're a few high spots off, just trundling up and down the driveway, I don't know, at 20 or 30 miles an hour, I guess, or probably not that fast, 20 miles an hour, and just use the brakes a bit, get them working, and just bed the linings in, and then readjust. Might better bring everything a bit shorter and bring the pedal up a bit further. I would imagine, once we adjust it a couple of times after it's done a few miles, it won't be too bad, if you know what I mean. We might better get the pedal up a bit shorter, because we'll better, obviously, as the shoes wear, we'll better adjust things up so that's, yeah, you know what I mean. In theory, we should better get the ride up a bit closer, because we'll better get it a bit more even. I've got it pretty tight on there now. There's like a little bit of clearance, but it'll be interesting to see whether they get hot or not. I don't know. It's just a matter of trying. I'm not really familiar with this stuff, but I think I'm happy enough with where I'm at now. I might just give that firewall a quick wee scuff there, where we've knocked all the paint off. Give that a bit of rub with some, I don't know, a bit of 320 or something like that. Just knock all the hard edges off, and we'll just get in there with a brush. And might even mix up a little bit of, just put a wee splash of blue in a cap and a couple of wee dribbles of some hardener, and just give it a wee swish round, and just paint that in there by hand. It'll flow out reasonably nice, and at least then it's not all ugly and chipped looking. Right, so I've mixed up that, and I've done the touch-ups. I might just give this another coat, so I haven't cleaned the brush or anything. So fixed up down there with brush painting. Gave it a wee sand, and then just on the edges and whatever, just to try and feather it out a little bit. And I'll give it another wee brush paint through there, just to give it a wee bit more and whatever. And then it's not one of those places you're going to be looking hard at. It's, kind of is what it is. And I'll go on around, I just touched up the little bits and pieces on here, and the other one over there. Just touched up the little bits and pieces, and we'll just leave it thick, and then when we do go to give it the last little buff up, clean up, we'll just rub back over those spots, and it'll hopefully just blend any of those bits in. There was a couple of little edges on here, and I think there was a couple of little edges on a couple of little spots where it just almost started burning through the edge of that. Just rub the edge of the brush on there lightly, just coloured it back up. Most of it, you never really, unless you're going to be standing there freaking really picking a hole, you're never going to really see it. So it's cool. It's all done and sorted, hopefully. Got it back down on the ground. can't really do much more with that stuff until we get it running and driving and do a bit of work in it. And obviously then we can go back around and check it all and whatever, readjust and see how it goes, you know. I think if you drive up and down the driveway a dozen times, pull it back and have a look, do a little bit of readjustment, do it again, you know, until you get a bit of material out, until we can actually get it able to drive on the road legally. That's the biggest problem here. It'll have to go through a whole fucking series of checks when it goes back on the road. So yeah, the big thing is like there's never been anything major done to the chassis. It hasn't had any huge repairs. It's been straightened, but it's never had any huge repairs or big hunks welded into it or anything like that. So the chassis is pretty much unmolested. All the main things that are really critical, like safety things, like the springs have never been altered and molested, like the we want to call it the front axles never being molested with, you know, we've had new ball joints made, but they're all being done by, you know, by engineers, and they've been hardened and all that sort of bullshit. So anything that's really critical, I guess, to safety or braking, and when I mean braking as in like something failing, that's all either original and being repaired or rebuilt within, you know, without having any, I guess, major alterations or repair, if you know what I mean. So it hasn't had any hunks cut out of it or whatever. It's just been fixed, paired with cleaned, new bushes made, a lot of those sorts of things, new bearings. So like it should be fine, and it's back to pretty much the way it was. I've still got to put split pins and that steering stuff, but that's probably one of those things too. You know, we'll probably drive it up and down the driveway over a few times and just get it working, get it moving. Yeah, probably even, you know, if we get it running and driving, I hope we can run out around this paddock because it's good and hard, or field, whatever you want to call it. We've got 80 acres here to run around, and it's all one big open paddock, so we can trundle around there for a freaking couple of hours if we really wanted to, wouldn't it? Get it moving, jerk, you know, working, test the brakes, whatever, and come back in and then readjust everything, you know. Get it run through the motions for an hour or two, and then, you know, come back and jiggle and adjust and whatever. So yeah, we should be pretty good there. So I think now I'm going to take a break for 5 or 10, and then I think I'll drag steel up into the bench, start measuring, work out exactly what I was going to do, because I was going to alter that isn't right. I was going to alter my little jig here a little bit. When I was going to shorten it up from 700, I think. I'll just go back through and just double check what I was going to do there for measurements. Alter that, and then I think we can start cutting some steel out and tacking it together, and then like do a trial fit, I suppose, and work out what we're going to do and go from there. It's like, sweet, move this around, gave it a little jiggle, brought into where I think we're going to be right. I was like, sweet, I'll cut the first couple of pieces. I was like, oh yeah. When I went to grab this piece, I think, oh, you know, we'll work out where that is and no marks, I can drill some holes in it. And I'm like, that ain't 5 mils thick. Oh, fucking pain in the ass. I didn't even look the other day when we picked it up. Like, it's the right width. But it's only freaking 3, I think. I just picked it up and was like, after I picked that up, I was like, fuck. I don't even know if they'll take that back now. Because it's, like it'll be used. It's just paying out because now I don't know if they've even got the right materials again. Because it really needs to be, might be alright. I don't know, like it's going to be lighter obviously. But I just thought, if it's a little bit thicker, it's going to be strong, not flex around, not get bent in the wind, all those sorts of things. You know, if the wind happens to get in behind it and pulls it over, like if it's a bit light, it might just bend too easy, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, yeah. So yeah, they've given me, we didn't even look at it. So yeah, that's the right, that's all this deal that come in. So at lunchtime I'm going to go there and have a look and just see whether they got other stuff in that was thicker. Yeah, so I wanted 20 to 5. This is 2 or 3 or whatever it is. It's basically, there's 8, I think. So I'm looking forward to doing this. So it's thick. And it's 3, well it's not quite 3, it's 2.8 mil thick. Okay, it's 1/8 or whatever it is. And this is 5 mils thick. It's borderline quarter, if you know what I mean. Damn it! I'll check the rest of it, hold on. I don't know if it's cut out freaking 2 strips. Yeah, it's all the same. Motherfucker. That sucks. I didn't even look. Sorry. Just picked it up and cut it. Just picked it up and cut it. Fucking oath. But might as well leave it here. It'll get used for something at some other point, you know what I mean? It'll come in handy with other brackets, but it can't fucking win. Wow. Can't get any steel. Again, you won't be here until Monday. Hopefully. It's only got the thin or the thicker of that 20 mil 1/4 inch. It's either that thin stuff like I got or the next step after the 5mm. It's just, the next stuff is a little bit thicker, but I just think it might be just getting a little heavy by the time you build a full frame out of it, you know, just extra weight. But I think the thin stuff would just be a bit light. I'd rather have that slightly heavier, like the guy in Australia said that it's made out of, or is about that thick, if you know what I mean. So I'm just racking my brain what I'm going to do next now, because yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill. Like I could have polished those or finish polishing that panel, but I can't do that because I put a little bit of paint on it. You know, it needs a day or so to cure properly, because I did mix a little bit of hardener in that pottle when I mixed up that, when I painted the blue. We put a, you know, I gave it a decent stir with the mixer, ruler, whatever, you know, and I just gave it a couple of good slathers into there, and then just opened the hardener basically, and just put a couple of little short dribbles in there, and then gave it a stir up, so there is hardener in it, so it will harden up nicely. It should do. So I can't do much with that. I can't finish polishing them. I've got those two little black strips that go down below the hood sides where the handles clip up. I've got to polish them, but there's not much point mucking around with that. I might as well do that while I'm polishing those. The hand buffer, with the buffer. So really it's, apart from trimming the rubber around the windscreen, and wiring that I don't have, is the tail light and the lights that sit on top of the cowl. Is about the main things I can carry on with until we get some other bits here. There may be some other little things I come across. I've got to still get some brass for those spaces for the top, so I can probably attack that maybe tomorrow. I need to remember to get some brass, turn something up. I can just turn something up on Dad's lathe. Maybe we'll get something made. I still need to get some nylon or something, make little spaces for between the bolts for the convertible top. I still need to do that. Again, I haven't got anything here to do that. I keep forgetting to do it. I'm going to have to get something in town and turn it down and bore a hole in it and just trim some little make some little spaces up. I just thought I'd like something in between them, just so that it's not paint on paint, if you know what I mean, or steel on steel, so it's just got a nice little spacer in there. So yeah, there's tail light. I think this is the next choice to put together. Might as well go through that, make a couple little, so I'm going to make some little gaskets out of something. So I'll make that, well, at least put that together. I need to get a couple of bowls for it, possibly, yeah, I think I do. But at least I can fit it all together, get all the gaskets made, and then I'll probably have to do the same for the cowl lights. Get them together and work out what bulbs need for them too. Hopefully the light fittings work for them. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. There's probably other little jobs that I'll need to do, but just trying to think. Wherever we wander around this thing, ever we poke, just suss out what else I need to do. A lot of things you think, oh yeah, I'll do that, but then you need something else that we haven't got yet to join to it to make it work. Righty.